This was the first Netflix show. It's something that's going to stick with us for a long time. It's going to be fun to watch all these people go do new stuff. I love movies, dude. God, I love movies. All right, let's see. I guess I need to say a bunch of times.
Definitely.
Spoilers. This is the Spoilers podcast. Man, I have a lot of emotions. 10 years of a show just ended, just like that.
Yeah, I watched it last night, and as it's wrapping up, I could kind of like feel it. As far as like the streaming era goes, this was the first big one. At least it's put Netflix on the map, and watching it over the last 10 years, having it end, yeah, I definitely felt emotional.
We went from Hawkins, Indiana to Jake Paul on on Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah, that is actually.
I'm looking at the Stranger Thing. I haven't had Twitter or Instagram on any device since yesterday because I didn't want to get anything spoiled. I just pulled up the Stranger Things Twitter account, and the last tweet is all caps, "Nancy, welcome down Wheeler," and she's holding an assault rifle.
Yeah, that was actually kind of cool. I don't know when you want to talk about that part, but
I don't have a plan. I didn't take notes. I wanted to be focused on this shit.
Yeah.
Going into this is what I thought. The last episode ended. They're in the truck and they're going on a plan. They're trying to get Vecna, whatever. It was 2 hours. I thought there were going to be multiple fights. Even when this actually ended, when they killed Vecna, I thought something else was going to happen. I didn't think it was just going to play out, explain it out. So I kind of felt like anticlimactic on the kill. I don't know that if it was necessarily like that, but I just knew there was going to be another fight. Something else is going to happen here. I thought what I hoped for, I wanted death. All right. I wanted important characters to die.
Yeah.
I think that sucks in the moment, but that's how these shows endure in your mind, and you always talk about it. And what I wanted was him to whoop their ass at the beginning, someone to get knocked out early, to be like, oh shit, anything can happen. And then I thought they were going to come for the rebound fight, but maybe it was good that they didn't go with that kind of trope.
Mary Sarah and I were kind of sitting there talking before we watched it last night, trying to guess who's going to die. And I think my biggest wager was on Jonathan. And I even tossed in Nancy at one point because nobody would have seen that coming. But
go ahead.
Yeah, not killing off any of the main characters fully, right? Spoiler, but they did it right. I think that they did it right in a way, that all the fans can appreciate. At least I did, for sure.
Predictions for dying. A couple people in my group predicted 11 to die. I didn't think. When I walked in the theater, the first thing I heard was a little girl say, "Oh my God, what if Steve dies?" Which I thought was fantastic. And they had the little thing where it was, "If you die, I die," with Steve and Dustin.
Yeah.
I think that would have been incredible. Those are maybe my two favorite characters in the whole show.
Yeah.
People would have freaked out. So I didn't think that I thought that would have been too much. They're not going to do that. One of these shows is going to have the balls to let Thanos or Vecna win, but we haven't found that show yet. I think the MCU wouldn't be in a dumpster fire right now if they just let Thanos win. But anyway, not to go down that rabbit hole. But I thought that
right. It's a tough choice, right? Because your show, right, is so beloved and it's been going on for so long. You're spending what did they spend, like $50 to $60 million an episode this season? And if you kill off your characters at the end, right, you're gonna leave some people unhappy, I guess. But I don't know. Every character kind of deserved to have that final moment. And them dying is certainly one way to do it. But I think that characters dying is right what you immediately go to whenever a show is ending, and for basically none of them to die.
Twitter's not happy. I'm looking at Twitter right now and they're not happy.
Twitter's never happy.
I know, but I wanted Holly to die too. Because every season, there's a new character that comes in for 1 year and they always get killed off. I thought Holly would be a good one. And the Wheeler family having to deal with the loss of a child would have been pretty tough.
I thought it was going to be dipshit Derek.
Man, that was me as a kid, man. That was me. I wasn't quite that big, but every time they showed him, I was like, get him, big boy.
I could hear you saying, "Suck my fat one."
Yeah.
He was an awesome.
Hellfire lives at the end.
Yeah.
I love Dustin. Man, I gotta have some. Let's see, Hopper coming back to save Kali. Well, I mean, he didn't save her, but when he picked up Elle and ran away with her, I was like, that's cutthroat. Like he cannot. This changes Hopper's character. He just leaves this little girl to die.
You're kind of looking at two things. You're looking at what a parent does in a moment like that, protect your child above all other things, and his trauma, right? He already lost one daughter. And so it's totally his character to protect her through everything, overprotect her. That was kind of at the beginning of the season when they're practicing. He's like, you're not ready. You're not ready to go on the crawl. You can't do any of this stuff. He just wants her to be safe. And so it is cold to leave Kali like that. But I think it tracks for his character.
Let's talk about the scene where they're in Vecna's house. They're trying to get the kids out. They come up with this plan to let 11 get caught. And they're using the mist to show the kids, like, this is the monster. And he goes into her mind, and like that's how he messes with Hopper and shows him the Agent Orange, because he sees all her memories.
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be more penalty for that. I thought once Vecna was dead, I thought something that he found out in the plan, he should have outsmarted them more than he did. He messed with Hopper there and got him to shoot the tank and pull him out, but like that was it. I didn't think they paid enough penalty for that little mistake.
Yeah, I thought that was actually kind of cool too. He does mess with Hopper's mind and makes him take Elle out of the tank.
Did you think she was shot?
I kind of thought maybe he's projecting this, but if she was shot, it would solve two problems for Vecna: the current problem and then the greater problem that she's around.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I did write this down. What about Vecna just being scared of the cave the entire time? Max is just right there, but he couldn't just face his fear.
Yeah, we talked about that too. They mentioned he's human, right? He has fears, and you're inside his mind. And I think that's something you have to remember is your fears are their biggest inside your own mind. So like him standing in front of the cave, obviously this is his big bugaboo. And even in his own mind, he can't conquer this fear because that's where the fear lives. When he eventually does walk into said cave, that it like takes a massive physical toll on him to do so, to overcome this fear that way. I thought that was super cool that they had the cave there kind of the entire season. You knew that you were going to figure out why that cave was important, and kind of crazy that there's no real backstory, like I guess to where the briefcase comes from. You just kind of like see it happen, which, you know, would be super interesting to know. But I guess that really does kind of open up like a lot of other things that you'd have to close up. And we're kind of at the closing stage here.
Let's see. What's his name? Jamie Campbell Bower. I love this actor. But for a second, they're about to do the "you're not the bad guy" thing with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I don't know about this. And then he just doubles down and is like, nah, it's me. And I was going into this like, is this going to be the recipe for every show now? Thanos and Vecna, like, the world's so corrupt, we got to destroy everything and rebuild it.
Yeah.
We can't just keep going to that well. So they introduced the stone here. I wrote down Infinity Stone, but I liked that the stone was what corrupted him. Because I guess they never really explained more than just like this anger as a little kid.
No, yeah, they don't at all. But this kind of opens up a whole other can of worms. It's kind of unclear, and this is because we don't know where the stone came from, but all relates to the Mind Flayer in a way that like directly links Vecna. Was Henry linked the moment that he touched that stone? Is that where this began? Because the guy says to him, don't let it, he's like, it'll consume, don't let it consume, you have to fight it, or he's about to die. And obviously, you know, that's not the choice that Henry ends up making. He becomes Vecna. But yeah, it would be cool to have had some more backstory on that to kind of explain it.
So where's the stone now? Is the Mind Flayer dead? Question. They killed Vecna and they killed that big ass monster.
That's a good question. Which
all those spirits kept coming out of everyone's mouth and going into the sky.
Yeah, that part. So I'm working this out live as we do this, right? So whenever that happens, all this like kind of black dust, whatever you want to call it, comes out of people. And we know the Mind Flayer to be, now we know him to be this physical entity, which, by the way, in terms of like cinematic monsters, gotta be up there for one of the coolest of all time. When he just like kind of all the legs came down and then he just like came out, wow. I was just like jaw open, like this is awesome. So cool. Did you have a similar reaction
Sorry,
to that?
I was
He is the Mind Flayer. That is really the big bad of the whole thing. Vecna is not Vecna without the Mind Flayer.
so they kill that monster and the Mind Flayer's dead, you think?
Yep.
Well, I did think that monster was one of the coolest monsters I've ever seen.
It was sick. It was,
but it
awesome.
went down kind of like a bitch.
It did go down kind of like a bitch. I guess, it never tasted American made metal.
Well, this whole show, assault rifles are just being ignored by tiny little dogs.
Yep.
And the Mind Flayer just can't ignore bullets touching him.
Yeah. Yeah. Bit of a plot gap there. There's also the fire, right? And then I don't know if you remember this, Lucas, at one point, they show this before they show Mike, he launches a water balloon at it. And I think it's Jonathan and maybe not, it's Jonathan and Robin, maybe. And they're using the flamethrowers on it. And then they go back and there's Lucas and he shoots a water balloon. You just watch it explode. And then Mike throws the fire to light it up. But for a second, this was cute in season 1, but what are we doing here?
Yeah. And they went away from it in the past couple seasons and they brought it back.
Yeah.
Right there at the end. I don't care about the slingshot, whatever. But
yeah. But yes.
He got beat up by a bunch of little kids.
Yeah.
For the most fearsome monster I've ever seen, I'm not sure that should have been enough. Yeah. That's why I thought there was going to be another fight. That just felt too easy.
I don't disagree with you on that one. In my opinion, I think that is the big bad, right? I think that Vecna may have some sort of symbiotic relationship with it, but I think that Vecna is doing its will to a degree, because when Mike's like, remember he's shouting to him he's like, like, help us fight it. You can fight it. He's like, no, it showed me things and I like believe it. Right. And like, I am with it. I chose this. So the Mind Flayer is the big bad. And I think it's like season 2, when you first see the Mind Flayer, but you don't see it in its like real physical form. You see it in that black kind of dust form whenever Will was in like the Upside Down. I just kind of thought it was just another monster, but for it to really be this big bad thing there at the end, I thought that was really, really cool.
I'm definitely glad they brought it back, because I didn't know this was going to get to 5 seasons. They kind of had to create Vecna in the middle of the show. Knowing that, they did an incredible job of tying it together.
Yeah.
I think.
I would write to all of these things. I think it's really cool how like from season 1 to the beginning of season 1 to the end of season 5, they are using D&D lore and characters and monsters and concepts throughout the entire thing.
And as 2 experienced Baldur's Gate 3 players like us 2 know.
Yeah, but I do really like that the theming of D&D stayed consistent throughout the entirety of the show.
Definitely. And the first time I watched the show, I rewatched it since Thanksgiving, the entire show. Fit it all into a month basically. And I had never played Baldur's Gate 3 before the first time I watched the show. So it was interesting actually knowing about the Mind Flayer and stuff this time.
Yeah.
I thought, when Nancy shares the flare gun with Mike as they're walking up I was like, you can share weapons in the game right before a fight. I thought that was kind of cool. And it wasn't a heavy-handed D&D thing.
Yeah.
Steve didn't do that much. And if they had some balls, they would have killed his ass right at the beginning when he fell off that tower. Honestly, how was the tower going to line exactly up with the rift? I'm glad that didn't work, because that was a ridiculous premise.
No, yeah, I thought that was nuts too. We're like, did they think it was going to line up perfect? And maybe I missed that. Maybe that was like something that I didn't see, but I kind of thought that was a bit of a oversight. I'd explained super well how they were going to do that. I think it was, so Holly, right? She ends up getting more screen time than the main characters of the show. And I think that's appropriate in hindsight, knowing exactly how it ends. But yeah, someone from the core group probably could have gotten killed, and it would have added to the show rather than take away.
I am happy that all the kids survived from the main party,
Yeah.
but I wanted, more people needed to go for this because
Fair.
like it sucks in the moment. I would have been sad right now. We'd be talking about, man, we love Steve, whatever. But that's the stuff that endures. You remember like the character dying, like Eddie Munson was maybe one of my favorite characters in the entire show. He really only had like 2 episodes where he was super featured in the show, but he died, and that's why we think about him all the time.
Yeah.
It was cool when Elle was doing her disappearing trick. They were right in front of the Radio Shack with Bob. They did several callbacks to Bob's death.
Yeah.
When Joyce chopped off her head and they're going through everything that the person did, that was great. That was great.
It was not lost on me that to do that the way that they did, they added in 8 more chops.
Yeah.
It's not clean at all.
Also, she didn't do shit in the fight. Literally,
No.
they're all doing something, and then they show Joyce. Joyce literally did nothing, and then she's walking up. I'm like, she's about to use that axe.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. But I thought the same thing, because at one point I think they're walking there and she's talking with Will, and I see an axe on her back. I remembered like she hadn't used this at all. Oh, here it comes.
Elle making the soldier shoot himself. That was savage.
That was dark. Yeah. Cool, but dark.
No respect for the U.S. military in the show. I mean, man, the U.S. military sucks.
Dude, so now that we're talking about that, remember when they drive the truck in to the military base and Nancy is out on top and she's shooting everyone and they're just missing?
Oh my God, yes.
All right.
She's graduated from the sawed-off shotgun to just taking out special force soldiers.
Yeah. Yes.
Her form was pretty good, though. I will say that it is believable now. We had some people watching with us who just hadn't watched the show, and they're like, how are these kids so brave? Like, they've been doing this shit for 5 years, 10 years. Like, it is believable now that they're all just like, we got to go do this. We got to go do that. This is all that matters, is completing this mission, living in Hawkins. And they're like playing their parents too. They're in their minds, they're like, my parents are silly. They're worried about this trivial thing, and they don't know that we're fighting monsters.
That the world's at stake, and that I'm saving us all right now. Yeah,
they didn't. Murray's character, that was a guy that I loved getting more. You mentioned Holly getting a lot of screen time. I guess we can see what we think about that. But like, the more Murray screen time, the better for me. Thought his character was sick.
Yeah,
and he went from like a Private Eye, Chicago Tribune writer to Han Solo, smuggler.
Yeah, he's a smuggler.
I mean, I guess, I don't know where he's getting all the stuff, but I bought it. Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, because when they meet him, do they meet him in season 3? Whenever Elle goes and meets Kali and stuff, they like, gosh, and I should remember, but it's been a long time since I watched season 3. But Murray is like, I think he's like a guy that could procure type or different types of things like that, and has been throughout the show. But
yeah, I'm looking at the salaries right now. How angry are the kids who barely missed out on getting selected for the show? That's got to just be devastating.
Rough.
Obviously, it's so much fun to do this and your career is made, whatever, but just like Winona Ryder, David Harbour, 1.18 million per episode this season. Mike, Sadie Sink, all these people, $875 per episode.
Wow.
The tier 3 teens, Maya Hawke, those kind of people, $750. Millie Bobby Brown, 1.25 million per episode. Must be nice.
Gosh, yeah, that's kind of crazy.
I wonder what they get for the press tour stuff, or if that's just rolled up into the contract.
I don't know. It's a great question.
In season 1, the core 4 earned roughly 20 to 30 per episode. By season 3, their pay jumped to 250 per episode.
Yeah,
Winona started at 100K per episode.
It's not bad. I'm trying to think what else is on my list. I want to go ahead and talk about the ending of it. I loved it. I loved all of it. Dustin, his valedictorian speech, that was hilarious. It's just in true Eddie fashion. He's just like, F all this, screw this school, whatever. And you have to remember that it's 89, right? So this stuff hasn't been sensationalized and, put into every TV show and movie yet. So that, very cool. But broke my heart watching them play D&D for the last time. Well, I say for the last time, right? For the last time in the show. And they get through and Sadie's, that's the best you got. That's everything. And he's like, well, then sit down, little lady, and let me tell you about a tale. And they perfect. No notes on the way that they chose to do or to come up with that theory as to whether or not she's still alive, because like Mike tells it so well, it's super plausible, but there's enough evidence to counterbalance whether or not it's true. I think if you're going to do something a little indecisive, that was an awesome way to do it.
Cold War ended November 9th, 1989. I want the year that they graduated high school. This is a Cold War show. I want to say that Will was taken on like November 6th. The Berlin Wall fell.
Yes.
Sorry, the Berlin Wall fell on November 9th. I don't know if they picked November 6th for that reason at the beginning of the show when Will got taken, but it is an interesting coincidence. It's probably more just about like the Christmas lights and stuff. But
could have been. But
fun fact.
The ending.
I love seeing all the other kids go down there and start playing the game. And I'm sad for Steve because he's still there. He's staying true to his character. He wants to coach baseball, whatever, have a family in a small town. That's great. And that is a great life in America. I'm glad that they're not like, you're a loser for having this family life. But what's he going to tell his wife that he beat a bunch of monsters up? Like he loves these friends because they did all this super secret shit. His wife's going to be like, you're a Looney Tune. But now he's got dipshit Derek on his baseball team who lived the stuff too. Like those kids that are still at his school, like he can talk to them about it for the next, 10 years.
Yeah, for sure. I do love that. And there's like so much I could talk about with like every character, it feels like. But I think one thing to bring up is the core group, Mike et al. They're graduating, they're going off to college, they're going off to do their own things. Having lived through that, everybody's like, well, we're going to stay friends. We're going to talk to you. Like, we're going to see each other. We come home, we're still going to be talking all the time, but that doesn't happen, right? Yep. Life happens.
Once a month.
Yeah. You see them there and they're right at the end with the door closing and stuff. And them, don't even get me started on them putting the binders away. That broke my heart.
Dude, I had to pee so bad, it actually ruined it for me. I couldn't focus on it as I had to pee so bad, but I wasn't going to walk out of the theater.
In your pants, dude.
I should have.
But there's like three distinct groups at different stages. You've got the core group that's moving on, and they're kind of passing the torch on to Holly and her friends, another distinct group. And then you've got the group that has lived through it. They're older in their lives now, like with Steve and Robin, Jonathan and Nancy. And so you just know how it goes, right? It's the natural progression of these things. Start off as like friends with, right? And Jonathan, Nancy, and them case is a little bit different, but it's the natural progression of life. And over the last 10 years, we have watched them grow from little kids into full adults. And so I thought it was super appropriate. I thought it was very cool. And I loved it. I'm gushing about it, really.
So Robin and Vicky broke up. Lucas and Max are the only ones I think that just end up together. Obviously, Jem and Joyce, but I liked that everyone just didn't end up together. And the unproposal scene infuriated me in the previous episode.
Let's talk about that.
I hated that. It wasn't very clear to me that meant they were breaking up. Like, I wasn't sure if they were breaking up or if that was just like, let's put this on pause. But now that's better to me. I don't like the unproposal dialogue, whatever, that's fine. They are teenagers. But it's better to me now that they're broken up. And then also, I hated the scene where Will came out to everyone. They've been building this up for so many seasons. Yeah. And it was so dramatic. And everyone's sitting there listening to him. But I did like in this episode where Mike is like talking to him about it. And he says, this is coming out bad. Oh my God. I'm such an idiot. I did like that was pretty funny.
Yeah, the coming out, the like Will coming out scene. I guess I get it. You know, it did feel a bit over the top, but I do have to remind myself it was a different world then
Sure.
than it is today. Will Wright, he is kind of a timid guy. You know, we have to remember his character. He's not exactly the front man of the group. He's kind of shy, right? And you know, I don't know. And people say that that moment coming out and stuff is a big scary moment. That's kind of what it was for him. But I mean, everybody reacted the way that you knew that they were going to react. You know, there was nobody that was like, "Yuck."
Yeah. I mean,
By religious
I get it
belief.
was a different time, but the shit that y'all have gone through together
Yeah,
and everyone has accepted Robin, like,
yeah,
I
yep,
don't know. I just thought it was like,
yeah,
I thought it was a lot. But
yeah.
yeah,
Important to his development.
the unproposal, that one hurt
Yeah,
me. That
yeah.
one hurt
Oh
me.
boy. So right now I'm with you. That was I remember like looking at Mary at the end of it, and we're like, so are they not? They're not together right anymore, or they are, or they like are on pause. Like what is happening here? Because it was clear as mud.
Clear as mud.
Then say what?
Clear as mud.
It was. I mean,
Yeah.
and so I thought that they were going to kind of clear that up a little bit, but they didn't. And so, I mean, only after talking about it for a while and then seeing the very end, I was like, all right, okay, they aren't together. They weren't together. So
Where I meant to go with this at the beginning was I did like, they made Jonathan look like a lesbian in some of these seasons. He was
like,
wearing his haircut, whatever, is fine.
yeah,
Like they put him in this one sweater in one of the episodes where I was like, they literally are trying to make this guy look like a lesbian. His get up in the finale at the end was great. He looked just like a kid who was from a small town who moved to the city to go to NYU. I thought and Nancy's haircut, I thought the outfits were great. Steve still looked good, but he was in kind of like a baggy suit where it's like you don't have like the polish of moving into a city to change your attire.
yep, yeah,
I don't know about Robin's look. I thought she looked fantastic, but
yeah, yeah.
she is going to an all girls school now. And I thought her getup had come out of like, I like girls. Like it was more like I don't know. That was interesting. We don't even need to talk about that. I went on a tangent here, but
Whoever was the stylist for Elle for this season in general, but this last episode, stop, get some help. That was awful. It was terrible. The
let me
workout
see. I have to
suit.
look it up. I don't even remember.
She wore a wetsuit for the entirety of the last episode. It looked terrible. She had her hair slicked all the way back.
How much did Body Glove pay for that?
I don't know, man.
Seriously, because I was like, they're putting her in the tank, and I'm like, she's in a wetsuit now. And everyone's like, yeah, it helps her focus. They're like, it's more comfortable to be in a wetsuit. I'm like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
But now I guess like it looked kind of like the lab suit
Yeah.
that she had been in. But I'm actually going to look up how much did Body Glove pay. That's a real brand, right?
I've heard of Body Glove before. Yeah, I just thought, I just thought it looked terrible.
Did you notice her lip filler?
Hard not to notice that in the Botox.
So the lip filler didn't grab me. Typically, like facial work does grab my attention. Everyone around me couldn't stop talking about her lip filler. I couldn't stop looking at her hips. Like they were really, I guess she's a woman now. But everything they were putting her in was like accentuating her shape. And they're still supposed to be like 17 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I thought like, and it was a very sharp change from we're putting her in baggy stuff, like we're making her look
Yeah.
small to we're pushing this all the time.
And it could be why they went with the wetsuit for the entire time, right? You know, to kind of like if right, I have no idea if Millie Bobby Brown has big boobs or not, but if so, then you know that would be a decent way to kind of hide that fact.
Okay. The Duffer Brothers, according to official statements from Netflix and the show's creators, the Duffer Brothers, Netflix does not accept payment for product placements within the show. Instead, they operate on a creative first model. I actually love that. Let's give them a clap for that, not sucking up to the mighty dollar. But that's crazy. I'm pretty surprised at that.
My personal gripe was with her stylist for that, but far and away. Everybody else this season, the outfits looked great. Everybody's like, hair was cool. You know?
Right, it's not as good as we thought. Often the payment comes in the form of the brand spending millions on their own advertising to promote the show. For example, brands like Doritos and Coca-Cola spent huge sums on Stranger Things themed campaigns. All right, we had a good few seconds there. That was a good 10 seconds for the world.
Take my clap back.
Impulsive thought. Is Owens dead? Remember they left him in the desert in the bottom of the thing? When Papa dies, Owens is down at the bottom of the trench and helicopter gets crashed and the soldiers are still there.
Yeah.
But they could have easily, we never saw the lady again. Like you call S.H.I.E.L.D. and the lady sends backup. We never saw her again. Like she could have easily rescued Owens, but we never saw any of that.
That's a good point. I didn't really think about that. I don't know. I mean, this won't be my last time watching the show. I'll probably give it a year or so, and then I'll probably binge the entire thing again.
I just asked. I'm still dealing with this. Like you can't process it all right now, but I did ask on the drive home, how long will it be until we rewatch this? I've just rewatched it for the second time.
Yeah.
If I didn't rewatch it, I'd be so furious that I didn't go through it all again. And I want to watch this with my kids. Hopefully, if we're still watching TV by then and not downloading it to our brains or something. But
yeah.
I just I kind of want to just start it over. But
I think the last time I watched it fully was like 2 years ago. But it's just such a high quality show. Has such great writing. The characters, the casting, all of it. It's why we're here talking about it. It's such a great show. It's why I feel emotional about ending. But I'm happy. I was connected with all the characters. Duffer Brothers, great job.
Top 10. I mean, every time you end a show, you're caught up in the moment and you want to say, this is the greatest show ever. But I'm thinking right now about my favorite shows of all time. And off the top of my head, the things that are coming to my mind are Better Call Saul, The Sopranos, Mad Men. Breaking Bad's not as high for me, but I don't know. This has got to be on at least the short 10 list for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'd put it in my top 5 for sure.
I think because it's everywhere and in your face, it feels like it's a Disney show or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Coming into this season, I remember saying, I'm ready for this to be over. And I watched the first episode and I'm like, holy shit, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Even back then when they didn't have any budget and they were making up by the seat of their pants, the show is so good. And that's why it became so big. It's not so big because they advertised it everywhere and pushed it on us. And it plays into so many things, and myth and things that we like. Like the monsters came and got the kids out of their bedrooms. They rifted the dimension and pulled these kids out of their beds. Like that's a fear that literally every kid has.
Yep.
So many examples like that in the show.
Yeah.
That I'm going to say right now, it's in my top 5 and I'll have to work out. I'll have to go back and do some research of my shows and work out what else is in there.
I should make a concrete top 5 list for this, but I'm without doubt. I mean, if somebody else gets booted, this is in there for sure. I mean, it's, and also talking about because we're just talking about the show as a whole, I thought it was awesome that they start the show in Mike's basement playing D&D and that's where it ends.
Yes. Just coming back to that constantly, and I think it's not so much that you have to like Dungeons and Dragons for that to be the reason. But when you keep those roots in the show, it keeps you from getting away, losing yourself in designing the show. Everyone's got all these ideas, just tie it back to Dungeons and Dragons. And that way you basically don't get lost on the path to wherever you're going.
Yeah. It's a tried and true method. It's tried and true in that D&D is structurally sound. It's a fantastic storytelling tool. I mean, that's how I describe it when I tell people, they're like, what is D&D? I was like, it's just structured storytelling with friends. And that's kind of what it was.
I don't remember. I loved when Eleven goes back to talking when she didn't know English, and it would only happen sometimes in recent seasons, because she's gotten older and she's learned or whatever. Yeah. I wish there was one little phrase like that in this episode. Maybe there was. I've only seen it once. but one doesn't come to my head. But I did like that the Hawkins lab, like, even though it's about Vecna, like they had to change who the main villain was as the show got popular. That being at the center of the circle that Dustin drew was really cool. And we get Hopper and Elle again going through the lab fighting military people. Like that's what we started with. Just I don't know
if you know this or not. So in D&D canon, Vecna is like one of the very penultimate big bads. I think it's appropriate that they name him Vecna. It's not that any of these things just are, right? It's how they're connecting these things, how they're understanding them.
The spider, dude, they walk up to that thing and I'm trying to figure out what it's going to do. And the legs start going down and I'm like, the pods are going to stand up and be the sack. The pods are going up in the air. Yeah. And whoever was next to me was like, the pods, what? And I'm like, the kids are going up in the air. Man, that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish we had more time with that monster. And I felt like season 3 kind of was in a little bit of no man's land. Now it seems like it tied itself together pretty well. And there probably was some stuff like that because that's when they were figuring out that's when they were establishing it's going to end with Vecna or whatever. But the final monster looking like the mini monster that attacked them all, I thought that was great. That made me feel like that made a little more sense because kind of season 2 and season 3 could have been together a little bit. I remember thinking that.
Yeah. I've already said it, and so not to beat a dead horse, but I really love that there's the callback to in that form in the Upside Down, and it's just like this big, massive spider looking thing. And then to see it in its physical form is really cool. One thing, I guess, to also talk about, I at first, and probably still a little bit now, I have a difficult time wrapping my mind around the wormhole. I'm familiar with the concept of wormholes or an Einstein-Rosen bridge, but like I think the part that I had trouble with was where in this was exactly the Upside Down, because was the Upside Down the other world that was there, like, but like that didn't seem to be the case, right? Because that was where like the other world it seemed like they were bringing together was the one that had the physical monster mind flayer in it.
Here's my understanding, and the episode before the finale, I believe, was called The Bridge.
Yep.
I like how in this show they come up with these far out theories and they end up being right or whatever. Yeah. And then they keep building on the assumptions from these other theories. And sometimes like the rug gets pulled out from under them or whatever. But for the most part, like they've just been getting it right and going and going and going and going. And then when this wormhole thing comes up, it's like he literally says all our assumptions about the Upside Down were wrong. Like they thought it was under Hawkins and the canals are under Hawkins and whatnot. And they explained like Will was making the tunnels or whatever. But the Upside Down, it's like a sandwich. Like the Upside Down is the cream of the Oreo, and the Abyss is the top cookie, and Earth is the lower cookie. And so when they destroyed the cream, they destroyed the Upside Down so that he can't get from the Abyss to Earth anymore.
Okay. All right.
So even if the smoke is still alive or whatever in the Abyss, hopefully he can't cross the bridge anymore because we blew it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Someone in the chat will tell us.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
If we got it wrong.
Nice explanation. I do remember there was like a scene right where the camera's coming out and you're seeing this physical looking kind of bridge, right? Because remember they drove a car into the quote wall, and then at one point the car, like you see it go flying through the wall or whatever, just out into the vacuum of space.
So my understanding was the wall went up so high. At first, I was like, the wildlings are on the other side of that wall. When they like, it felt like Game of Thrones wall when they first walked up to it.
Yeah,
but like it was super high, and it kind of looked like a cylinder. So I thought that explained it. But then like outside of it was just like we don't know, and I don't know about what do they call the matter?
Exotic matter.
Exotic matter. I don't know shit about that. Did Mr. Bullard teach us about exotic matter? Shout out Bobby Bullard.
Bobby Bullard.
Wouldn't it be wild if he heard this?
Boy, yeah.
He definitely saw the finale today, right?
Without a doubt. Yeah, I mean,
for sure.
This is 110% up his alley.
He literally has been dreaming about Dustin his entire life. I'm glad we got a little bit of I'm sad the teacher wasn't in it as much. There's so many
Yeah.
characters. Like there's
Yeah.
so many characters by the end of the
Yeah.
show. They couldn't fit everyone in. And they honestly they did a good job of just not forcing it. Like we never saw the cops again. We never saw Owen. Like the deputies from
Yep.
we never
Yeah.
saw them. We never saw Owens. I'm glad we got to see and how they explained him. They can't explain the upside down 50 times every time a new character finds out.
Yeah.
And he comes up with this theory like to get rid of the camera. And
Yeah.
Hopper's like, "You're overthinking it, buddy." And he just learns by 11 just ripping the camera down. Like that was incredible.
Yeah. 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 And that's a really good point, right? You can't explain it 50 different times.
I was trying to think if Joyce said anything about how she was going to kill Vecna when he took Will at the beginning. All I can remember is her saying, "I'm going to find him. I'm going to bring him home." Or like, let's kill that son of a or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was trying to think of something with the axe, like if they connected that, but I don't think it was.
No, I don't think so. The last thing I remember from that was her like saying like, I guess you messed with the wrong family. What I'll probably do is I'll probably rewatch this finale too, just because like there's so many different things that I want to understand. And maybe I'll just watch the entirety of the season again, but won't be upset about it. It's just great television.
I was looking at Vecna's history, and it's all Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts, Twilight, Camelot. Like those are all the shows that the actor has been in. He's done all fantasy stuff, the Vecna actor.
Huh.
But the one actress that I want to ask you about is Sarah Connor, the general. What do we think about her in this season?
Well, good, because this kind of goes into what I wanted to talk about, which was just the military as a whole. So unclear if she's getting orders or if she's somewhat autonomous.
Yeah.
Right. She has a military faction beneath her reporting to her. So you have to imagine there's some sort of chain of command. But do people above her, are they aware of the situation?
You keep getting tanks blown up. They keep blowing up helicopters. How many helicopters do you need?
Damn it. We're BMF. We're blowing money fast over here. Yeah, no, she's I mean, I didn't love the military plot line. I think that they were completely necessary because they had been present throughout the entire series as kind of like the alternate villain.
Keep going. I have something for this.
To the greater villain. I would love to know what their thought was when the planet's coming down. Did you think that this was Elle the entire time? That she's bringing the planet down? What you got at some point, you got to have somebody there that's trying to see the greater picture here. But it seems like they were very just focused on trying to make more of her, which I guess, right, it might have just been their orders.
I thought that was, that's the problem with Superman and any of these things. At the end of the day, and this is a Cold War show, the military is important because we're playing on all the themes of the Cold War. At the end of the day, they're trying to defeat the Soviets. And Linda Hamilton's character, she thinks the communists are going to take over the world. She's got to get this psychic, and she's got to get these monsters over there and take out the real threat to the world, which is the communists and the Soviet Union. But
Yep.
they have so many things I want to say. The damn planet is coming down. One, was it just over Hawkins? Or because if it's just over Hawkins, that makes me feel a lot better. But if this damn planet is coming down over the country, NASA has to see that, right? You can't just put up you can't just water it down and put up a sign and be the great earthquake, all the people that died in the great earthquake. When everyone saw a planet come down above the sky, and it was pretty damn close. It was a radio tower away from touching the earth.
Yeah, a not lined up radio tower away.
And there's so many episodes I couldn't keep notes, and just I would have had 1,000 pages. How am I going to go through notes of all the episodes? But the third antagonist here, slowing down the kids and what they're doing and further complicating stuff, I thought worked really nicely. On top of already this is a Cold War thing and the lab has to be involved. I thought the three-way motivations made for a lot of creativity, and it's not just back and forth. You have multiple threats to worry about. And every time we think about the gang all being together, but this show is at the beginning of the season, we get an episode of It's joyful. Like we're seeing what they're doing in their lives. And then each season happens over the course of like 3 days. And they break off into pairs. And then for that season, they go off and they do their stuff separately. So I thought that the military helped that part of it a lot. And I just thought Sarah Connor, I just thought Linda Hamilton, like she's badass. Like when she showed up on the set of Terminator 2, if you've seen the Arnold doc, he said she was more jacked than her. And she's not some famous actress they put on there. When she gets into it, she gets stabbed in the tricep in the beginning of the season. I'm like, of course she's a badass fighter. She's a general, but also like I've seen her be a badass fighter in Terminator a lot.
Yeah.
I like that they brought her in and they didn't force her because she's famous. Like they didn't force her into stuff that she didn't need to be in.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can agree with that. Like she is super cool, right?
You don't have to disagree. You don't have to agree with it. Disagree with it if you think she sucks.
I didn't think she sucked. I mean, I still stand by what I said, right? Like the military part was not my favorite plot line.
I can, yeah.
Yeah.
It is annoying to see.
It was necessary though.
It is annoying. Yeah. It's like, we don't care about minions with machine guns getting killed and like showing up to fight the monsters. Like they do have to show that because that is what our government would do. But like nobody cares about them.
Yeah.
We've seen that enough.
Yeah. And also in season, is it 4 or where Hopper's in Russia? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're kind of more of a present threat, right? You kind of understand like what they're up against, right? In terms of like the U.S. military. And so, you know, you do get their point of view on that. But yeah, it is just not my favorite plot line. But I don't think it was meant to be.
Where does Vecna rank in like, where's he going to go down in the history of like villains? And it's interesting debate because he wasn't there at the beginning. So who knows like how he evolved so much just in this season. Like his armor was incredibly different. His layer was one of the coolest layers I've ever seen. Like they could have done so much more if they'd had him the whole time, but
he was really good. I don't know. Like if I'm going to put people into tiers, right? And this could possibly be a bit of a hot take, but my gut reaction is to put him into the B tier. I think he's good, not great.
I mean, at the end of the day, he did lose to a bunch of kids.
Fellow
Eagle Scout. Though.
Yep. I think maybe if there had been another season of development for him.
Yeah, there's not enough of him.
There's not enough of him. I think that there's enough, right? There's enough threats and his role is very important, but I don't think that he is the penultimate kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. There wasn't enough time for him to break into like the upper tier. And even when I rewatched the show, I wasn't thinking about him. Because when I go into this rewatch, I haven't seen season 5. I've only seen Vecna in season 4. And you know, this is an incredible monster. The alien monster is one of the greatest monsters ever created. These monsters will be like revered for a long time. And so they're very powerful. Like I forgot about Vecna. When I was rewatching this, I was like, yeah, okay, I guess like that guy at the end like ends up, you know, they go fight him in that attic.
Yeah.
You can't be in tier 1 villain when I'm not even thinking about you at the beginning of the rewatch.
No, your tier 1's like Voldemort, Darth Vader, like
Gustavo Fring. I'm kidding.
I'm trying to think like
he is badass, but not Darth Vader and Voldemort.
Pennywise, the clown, like, you know, maybe closer to A tier, but I think that those being kind of like the bar at the top, right? I think if you were to consider holistically, right, everything, you know, you could probably bump it up because if you consider the Demogorgons, you consider the Upside Down, the Mind Flayer, you know, Vecna, if they're all kind of a hive mind, you know, like the show suggests, then you know, maybe you could bump it up into the A tier, but I just certainly don't think that this is one of the greatest villains of all time.
I meant to tell you that the Stranger Things is not over for me. I still have to go see the play. Stranger Things, The First Shadow on Broadway.
Have got more good news. Maybe you know this already. So Duffer Brothers, for certain, there is one spinoff. And,
Nancy?
I have seen 2 things. I have seen one that is confirmed by them in the way that they are talking about it with an interviewer, and that is not the Nancy one. I have seen the a picture that like there's going to be an animated series,
From 85.
but what I saw in like a clip of them talking was the interviewers like, okay, so you've confirmed the one spinoff, blah blah blah. Are there going to be any sort of things that you don't tie up in the finale that you kind of leave for that? And they're like, oh well, we've truly tried to tie up everything in there, and so like while like it being the spinoff will be similar, it's a completely different location, characters, events, like time. So it's not completely over for the world of the Upside Down, but it will not be with the characters from this version of Stranger Things.
So I like to go into these things without looking up this info. Like I just want to be surprised and like guess and stuff. So I'm looking into this now. Stranger
Yeah.
Things, Tales from 85. Super into that because the Star Wars Clone Wars animated shows are like some of the best Star Wars that there is. So that's a really great plan. There was a whole lot of MK Ultra references in season 1. There was at least 3 times where they said MK Ultra in season 1. That's a more of a mainstream thing now than it was 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, I thought this was mainly based on that. But we've heard them talk about the Montauk Mysteries as how this show was originally pitched and where Joyce and Hopper going to live. They're going to live in Montauk. So that's coming up on here as something they could be working on.
Yeah.
The First Shadow, the stage play, it's a prequel. It explores the origins of Henry Creel. He actually went on Broadway one night, and you could have seen him act out the Vecna character in the play. I'm not going to see that, but
That'd have been so cool.
That actually got spoiled for me because I had kind of forgot who Vecna was, and because I had been talking about the play, it was like Vecna returns for one night, and it shows Jamie like the actor, and then the Clean Slate live action spinoff. It will not follow the original Hawkins character. It's set in a different decade and a different location. The Duffers will not serve as showrunners due to their overall deal with Paramount, but they're heavily creatively involved, whatever the hell that means. That sounds like a path to annoyance, but if we have to just pretend it doesn't exist, we will. But we'll be here to talk about it.
Yeah, I definitely will watch it, and I will definitely be here to talk about it.
Okay, let's just do your favorite characters.
My favorite character in the entire show is probably Hopper. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I don't know. I think I sympathize with him.
That is a hot take.
I think I sympathize with him. I think his character's kind of badass. I think
definitely badass.
He's definitely a bit boneheaded at times, but he's acting from his heart. He's protecting the weak. Most of the time, right? There's the instance, right, we talked about with Kali, where he just kind of someone who's experienced immense loss, in their life, and just a really cool character.
If they had some balls, he would have killed himself with that dynamite.
I thought he was going to do that for sure.
And my heart like hurt when I saw him open I was convinced that was what was going to happen.
Me too.
And that would have been nuts. They would have lost the Montauk spinoff or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll be happy in the end that we have that. But like that could have been that was a choice they could have made.
Yeah.
That would have been pretty nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
My favorite character, Dustin. I think he's by far the best actor of all those kids. Like,
really?
He's magical, dude. I can't stand Will's character. I liked him at the beginning. And I'm not saying anything about him as an actor. Like, I felt like he couldn't really do much, like, with, the lines and, like, the role that they gave him. But, like, I thought Dustin was by far the best actor. And just, yeah, he was my favorite character. The kid is hilarious. He is, like, he sticks to his nerddom, like, all the way throughout. The like friendship with Steve is hilarious. And then this season, switching it up and going with them feuding, it was pissing me off because it was his turn to not be happy-go-lucky. Every season there was someone doing that. It was his turn to be like that. And then that scene in the House of Wax where Steve's about to go up the ladder and he's like, if you go up that, you're going to die. And like, I can't have that happen again.
Yeah.
Tears, almost cried watching that. I don't know if they knew his character was going to be that important. I'd have to watch it again to think about it now. But I feel like Mike was more heavily featured in the beginning. And Mike didn't really do much for a while. They
Yeah.
brought him back a little bit here at the end, but like they sent his ass off into the desert in season whatever when Elle had to go get her powers back. They're like, you,
Yeah.
Jonathan, and Will, y'all not doing too much. You go sit on the side while
Past the
the
duchy on
real
the left-hand
characters work in
side.
Hawkins. And like in that drawing where Mike's leading the charge because he's the party leader, they had to remind us, oh yeah, Mike is important. He hasn't done anything, but he's the party leader. And because we had been recently playing Baldur's Gate, they have the spells that you can cast to inspire your teammates. I would just always look at the people I'm with and I'm like, that's all I can do is cast incantation spells and inspire his team.
So just more focused on like mannerisms. Do you know what person that we know that he reminds me of? Mike
Ellison.
Ellison.
Thank you. It's the facial structure too.
It
And
is. Yeah, I think
because we knew him when he was young, we can see it. So Dustin's my favorite character. I really loved Eddie Munson.
Yeah.
And this is how much loved Billy too.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Munson is really magical because he really only acts in that first episode. They feature him very heavily of that season. And then he's hiding in the woods. And they show him like on the radio a couple times until like episode 5 or 6 or whatever. And he left that much impression on me just from this 145 minutes of acting.
It was very
I'm definitely going to look for stuff that he's in going forward. But
yeah,
all these kids, like you said, this was the first Netflix show. This is something that's going to stick with us for a long time. It's going to be fun to watch all these people go do new stuff. I love movies, dude. God, I love movies.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this in the last episode, to call it like television, like even really to call this like season just television's like kind of disingenuous because like
dude, these are an hour and 7 minutes minimum. They're literally making 8 movies or whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
It's nuts. All right. Well, that's my reaction. So I guess I just got to say, I am happy with the ending. Endings are very hard to do. It is not easy to please people with an ending. You can really mess it up. This isn't like one of the greatest endings of all time. They didn't go there enough with, killing someone off or, having some reveal. It is a very good ending. I'll say that. Yeah. Very good ending.
I agree. Very good ending. I loved it and was totally fine with them not killing people off. I loved it. I just nothing else to say really.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we're good.
What are they called? Pressure Works?
SC Pressure Works.
What do they do? Pressure wash?
In Charleston, yes, sir.
Are they really good at it?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
You need them to pressure wash that driving record you got, Elliot.
Me and God, dude. I was between me and God.